Hi there and welcome to the Daily Arsenal News Show. Let's dive into today's top stories. Arsenal tell Real Madrid they can sign Kai Havertz for just £34 million in January. Arsenal have offered Real Madrid the chance to sign Kai Havertz in the January transfer window. The Gunners only signed the German in the summer, but after a really poor start to the season, Defensa Central claim Gaspar and Mikel Arteta are looking to get rid of him. Arsenal signed Kai Havertz from Chelsea in the summer for £65 million. The Gunners beat both Real Madrid and Bayern München in the race for his signature, and Mikel Arteta was delighted that his side got the deal over the line. The report from Spain claims today that Real Madrid were genuinely interested in Havertz. They wanted the 24-year-old to replace Karim Benzema at the Bernabeu. However, Arsenal offered Chelsea much more money than Real Madrid were prepared to spend, and that forced the Galacticos to withdraw their interest. Now, the report claims that Arsenal have contacted Real Madrid to ask if they would be interested in signing Havertz in the January transfer window. The Gunners are prepared to let him go for just £34 million, which is nearly a 50% hit on their investment just over 4 months ago. However, the report claims that Real Madrid are unlikely to pursue a deal to sign Havertz, especially in the January transfer window. It looks like Arsenal are stuck with the German. It's extremely unlikely that Arsenal are already prepared to sell Havertz, that too far nearly half the money they spent on him just 4 months ago. It makes no sense. The German, branded as overrated by Team Sherwood on Premier League productions, hasn't been great at all since his move from Chelsea. He has struggled, but selling him after just 6 months for a big loss isn't a wise thing to do. Arsenal should give Havertz until the end of the season to show his best level. There have been flashes of quality, but he needs to perform more consistently to make a name for himself at the Emirates. One way to help Havertz deliver could be to use him as a striker at Arsenal. Perhaps Arteta will do that in the game against Sevilla tonight. International manager confirms 24-year-old Arsenal player is now injured. Norway manager Stale Solbakken has claimed that he is very worried about Arsenal star Martin Odegaard's injury. The 24-year-old was an unused substitute in the Premier League game against Sheffield United, but wasn't even in the squad when Arsenal took on Newcastle last weekend. He is a doubt for the game tonight as well, and possibly Norway's international fixtures too. Martin Odegaard is one of Arsenal's best players, and when he doesn't start, they tend to struggle. The Gunners managed to batter Sheffield United without him, but they suffered defeats at the hands of West Ham United as well as Newcastle on Saturday. Odegaard came on as a substitute and scored against the Hammers, but it was too late. Arsenal need Odegaard fit and available, but he missed training again yesterday. Now, if Norway manager Stahl words are anything to go by, there is cause for concern. The 55-year-old has called up Odegaard for the international games against the Ireland and Scotland this month, but he has admitted that he is worried about his captain's injury. He told Bold, "We are worried about Martin because he is very questionable about the fighting playing. We have to see what happens this week. He has to go through some tests, and then we have to see how many problems he has. If he doesn't play, then it will be historic because he is the only player who has played all the matches for me." Arsenal boss Mikel Arteta claimed in his press conference yesterday that Martin Odegaard's availability for the game against Sevilla is uncertain because of his injury. The Norwegian is one of those players who's almost always available. He hasn't had too many fitness issues since joining the Gunners, but the fact that there is so much doubt now is a big concern. Ahead of the game tonight, the Standard have claimed that Odegaard is expected to be out with an injury, which is a blow for the Gunners. It will be interesting to see if he can make it for Saturday's game against Burnley. If he can't, it's unlikely he will be able to play for his country in the international break either. £16 million Arsenal player now finally feels good after toughest season in his career. Takahiro Tomiyasu has now shared that he feels in top shape for Arsenal after struggling with injury for almost all of last season. Tomiyasu was attending Arsenal's press conference with Mikel Arteta ahead of a tie with Sevilla and was asked about his injury condition. The Japan international admitted that last season was the toughest of his career because of all of his injury issues. Of course, Tomiyasu did undergo knee surgery after picking up a problem during Arsenal's vital run-in. Speaking via Football London, Tomiyasu said, "I'm feeling very well. I have struggled with injuries, especially last season. Last season was my toughest season in my career." And Mikel Arteta will now be very happy to have Tomiyasu back available for his Arsenal side, injury-free. Tomiyasu has been deployed in a surprise role of late, replacing Zinchenko as the inverted fullback on the left. And whilst he doesn't have the ball-playing ability of the Ukrainian, he is proving to be a more reliable defensive presence. Arsenal have massively benefited from Tomiyasu's versatility since he signed for £16 million over a year ago, and still only 25 years old. Arteta must feel that the Japanese defender can still make considerable improvements. Tomiyasu playing at left back has encouraged the idea that Zinchenko may now be best deployed in a midfield role. The number 8 position is causing an issue for Arsenal, with none of their options nailing down the role. And given Zinchenko's skill set, Arteta could have some much needed creativity added back to his side. Having Tomiyasu back fully fit after injury is a massive boost for Arsenal and Arteta, given all of the options he now gives them. Tomiyasu perhaps is playing the exact kind of role that Jurriën Timber was envisioned for before his very untimely injury, and although he was a very new signing, it shouldn't understand just how much Arsenal are missing Timber. Some exciting news ahead of tonight's game is that Amario Dabiri is now training with the senior team once again, and given all the absentees, he may be hoping for a coveted spot on Mikel Arteta's bench. BBC Pundit claims Arsenal fans should have no concerns about their 24-year-old player, but Nevin has now assured Arsenal fans not to worry about the confidence levels of Edin Ketia following a tough few games. Nevin was speaking on the BBC's Football Daily and was asked if he had any concerns about Nketiah leading the line for Arsenal, and the pundit was quick to point out that Nketiah was a natural goal scorer and put greater emphasis on the team around him. Asked if he had concerns, Nevin said, "I don't think so. The fact that he's got lots of players around him, and if you are playing with a team, particularly when it's a home game, who have got those quality players, look, they have got a few injuries, and that is a bit concerning, but I still think there is enough quality players in that squad to give him chances. And do you know what? It doesn't matter if he is a squad player or anything, he is a natural goal scorer. And natural goal scorers, it doesn't matter what level they play at. If you put a ball between them and they have got a goal in front of them and half a chance, they tend to score, and he is shown that he can do that. He scored a hat-trick the other week. Don't worry, his confidence will be high enough." Of course, Edin Ketia was missing from Arsenal's final training session before Sevilla. Reports understand that Nketiah is nursing a knock but could still be involved against the Spanish side. Should he miss out, that may pave the way for either Leandro Trossard or Kai Havertz to lead the line. A lot of Arsenal fans have been calling out for the club's £65 million signing to be given a chance in a position that he has thrived in for Chelsea at times, and although Kevin is backing Nketiah to produce for Arsenal, it may be time for Mikel Arteta to try something different regardless of his injury. Arsenal have been struggling creatively, something not helped by the absence of Martin Odegaard, who is also likely to miss tonight. Arsenal star tells the club hierarchy he wants to leave as early as January. Arsenal midfielder Thomas Partey has reportedly told the Gunners hierarchy that he wants to leave the club next year. This is according to Tutto Mercato Web, who write about the Arsenal star's future amid purported interest from Juventus. Partey's Arsenal future seemed somewhat uncertain in the summer amid links with the likes of Juve and the Saudi Pro League. While the speculation didn't lead to anything concrete, the 30-year-old has had a difficult start to the 23-24 campaign. Partey has made just 5 appearances this season, with Mikel Arteta mainly utilizing him as a right back in August. Since then, Partey has made only 1 appearance and is currently on the sidelines due to a muscle injury. According to the Mirror, it could potentially keep him out of action until 2024. Now, TMW has claimed that Partey has made it clear to the Gunners that he wants to leave in January. Juventus are reportedly targeting the midfielder because of his desire to leave Arsenal for the time being. Partey is apparently waiting for other proposals from the Premier League and La Liga. Partey is an amazing player and has been a star for Arsenal, but sadly, he is finding himself on the sidelines with injuries holding him back once again. We'll see whether this culminates in Arteta opting to sell the £45 million man mid-season. Perhaps, if there are buyers who'd be willing to spend a decent sum, he could well consider it. It's a sad situation when this happens, but with Arsenal now pushing for titles and trophies, it's important that every cog in the machine is well oiled and fully functioning. Besides, if the player himself wants to leave, then even if the Gunners wanted to keep him, they'd struggle. Let's see if all parties can find a solution. Team Sherwood says £12 million Arsenal player is way too negative all the time. Arsenal were one of the most exciting teams in Europe last season, but this term they haven't quite looked the same. We can't quite put our fingers on what is different about Arsenal this term, but they do lack that cutting edge that they had last season. The North London club aren't as fluid in the attack, and speaking on Premier League productions, Team Sherwood has highlighted one player for being a bit too negative. Indeed, Sherwood says that Jorginho is doing Arsenal no favours in the attack, claiming that he is always slowing the game down, looking to pass backwards and sidewards way too often. Sherwood shared his verdict on the £12 million man. He said, Declan Rice for me was the best player on the pitch. He is absolutely quality. Jorginho for me, he slows the game up too much. He wants to play backwards and sideboards too much. He doesn't see that forward pass often enough. We never thought we'd say this, but it really looks as though Arsenal are missing Granit Xhaka at the moment. The Swiss midfielder had so much about him in an attacking sense last season, with his surging runs and late arrivals in the penalty area, and sadly, Arsenal don't have that in their midfield this season. David Ornstein shares what he's now heard about Ivan Toney and Arsenal. Ivan Toney has been strongly linked with Arsenal heading into the January transfer window. The Brentford striker is said to be a top target of the Gunners, and some journalists are now even actively expecting this move to go ahead. However, according to David Ornstein, this transfer may not be the foregone conclusion that some believe it will be. Indeed, speaking on the Athletic Football podcast, Ornstein says that while Toney is a player Arsenal like, he is not the definitive top choice as a new striker among all of the recruitment staff and decision makers at Arsenal. Ornstein shared what he knows about the striker. He said, I am a bit biased because I really like Ivan Toney. Let's see if he can adapt. When you are spending that sort of money, it isn't a trial and error. You want to be certain, but he is shown no fears about performing at the elite level away from home. I remember away from home against Man City, he was unbelievable in Brentford's historic win. So yeah, he might not be at the top of the list among all of the recruitment and decision makers at Arsenal, but that doesn't mean he couldn't fit in. It's interesting to hear that Toney isn't the top choice of everyone inside Arsenal, as it suggests that there are other players on the agenda. The striker market is remarkably shallow at the moment, and Arsenal do need to dip into it in January if they are to push on and win the Premier League or the Champions League this season. From the outside looking in, Toney does seem like the best bet for a team like Arsenal right now, but it would appear that those within the Emirates have another plan in mind. This is certainly a situation to keep an eye on as we head into January. As we wrap up today's Arsenal news, remember to stay tuned for daily updates right here on the channel. Don't miss out on the latest updates, so make sure to hit that subscribe button and give us a like if you found this information valuable. Your support means the world to us. Thanks for watching, and until next time, take care.